Hello and welcome back to Tales of Lumin. Today we're talking about The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. Much like everyone else on YouTube, because I think that most of the world went to see it this weekend, or at least it seems like it, just judging by my Twitter and Facebook feeds and everything else. But before I even start talking about the movie, I will just mention that this was the first time that myself and Helene had gone out to the cinema in like 3 years. I think the last movie we went out to see, it might even be longer, was Alice in Wonderland, the new redone one. That was a while ago. That was, and we saw that in 3D as well. And I gotta say that the 3D of The Hobbit, and we would have watched it in non-3D if we had the option, but we didn't. For some reason, I want to say local cinema, but it's not our local cinema. We had to drive an hour to get there. But the closest cinema to us only played it in 3D. I suppose the reason for that is, much like the reason there are 3 Hobbit films, money. That's the reason. That right there is the reason for both of those things. It costs 70, 80 rand for a ticket, which is about $7 or $8. I don't know if that's a lot for you guys. I have no clue what movie tickets cost over there, but to me that just feels like a lot. If I think about all the other stuff I can buy for 70 or 80 rand, I could probably get 4 nights worth, if not more, of protein portions for us. By protein portions I mean like meat or something else, some other form of sustenance. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent now when I talk about the movie here. So we went with a friend of ours, his name is Sean, and we actually saw The Hobbit together, the 3 of us. And I gotta say, we didn't watch The Hobbit in the theaters, so we didn't see that in 3D, but I gotta say that 3D has improved so much. I sort of got a bit of like eye pain, eye strain, achiness up here for the first like 2 minutes of the movie, but then that just went away and it was comfortable. It looked good. After a little while, I kind of forgot that I was watching a 3D movie, and some of the stuff caught me by surprise. Some of the stuff being flung at me and all that. And now, again, I don't go out to the cinema very often, so it's pretty much a new experience to me. The last thing that I thought was kind of good in 3D was Avatar, and we also watched that back when it came out. And that's like what we watched. There was Avatar, there was an X-Men movie in there somewhere, not even sure, and then Alice in Wonderland, and now the new Hobbit movie. That's our cinema history right there. That's how many movies we've seen in the last 5 years, which is kind of sad. I know. Need to make a point of actually getting out there, watching these things a little more often, because it's fun. It's a nice experience, and that's what I wanted to talk about before starting on the movie. I realize I'm taking quite a bit of time to get to the good stuff, but I more so enjoyed the experience of just jumping in the car with really good friends. Really good friends. I mean, Helene, you know how good a friend she is to me. She is my everything. And then Sean, he's pretty much a lifelong friend. He is pretty much my best friend. He has been around for so long. We've been friends for so long. And we have shared interests throughout this time. So the 3 of us, we always have a lot to talk about. We always really enjoy ourselves when we're together, regardless of what we're doing. So the experience of jumping in a car together, driving over the mountain, collecting some snacks along the way, walking around in the mall, and then finally sneaking our snacks and stuff into the cinema because, well, they kind of frown upon stuff that wasn't bought at their cinema. All of that was just so good. And after the movie, we got to talk about it. We got to walk around the mall a little more. It was just a nice day overall. And that all just added to the enjoyment, and I suppose made the movie feel that much more fun and exciting. But let's get to the movie now. I haven't actually interacted. I haven't read the book recently. Haven't even looked in it recently. We've got it somewhere here in the house, okay? We've got it, but I remember it being really short. So I was kind of shocked that, and this was a while ago, this shock set in a long time ago, but I was kind of shocked that they were even able to split this book into these 3 movies. But now, after watching the second Hobbit movie, I can see how it's being done. They add in so much extra stuff that I just don't remember from the book, don't remember being there. Sure, they removed a few things here and there, but they add in so much new stuff and more action-packed content that it seems to quite easily fill up that 2.5-3 hour period. But I will say, if I had to give you like a quick review of the movie, because some people like that, some people like to hear what I think of it before listening to any spoilers and stuff. It makes sense, it really does. I'd say it's definitely worth seeing. It is much better, and I really do mean much better than the first Hobbit movie, than Unexpected Journey. I liked that movie. I thought it was pretty good. It was not as good as the Lord of the Rings movies, but it was pretty good. This one, however, Desolation of Smaug, was brilliant. It was so much fun. Action-packed. There was constantly something exciting going on, even in the slightly slower, more meaningful scenes. They had my attention. They did. It was good. It was gripping. So I would say definitely go out and see it if you can. Even if you're not a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Peter Jackson, who apparently was in the film. I didn't even realize he was in there. As far as I can tell, you could pretty much blink and miss him. I think he was in the starting scene in Bree, in that little flashback scene, eating in the tavern or something. I don't know. He was in the Prancing Pony. That's that. But I would say go out and see this, because it's just a good adventure-filled, action-packed movie. Regardless of all the other stuff, it's fun. So now, because I haven't read the book in such a long time, I can't immediately just point out what's changed, what wasn't there, what was added, and all that other stuff. But I did see a couple of comments and people talking about it, and it seems like the biggest and most, I suppose, controversial addition to all of this was Evangeline Lilly from Lost. She's Toriel, the elf. She wasn't even a thing. She was made up, fan fiction or something, but I thought she fit really well. Now, they added her because of the fact that the movie didn't have, a strong female lead. Maybe they wanted to put a lady person on the poster to attract even more people into those cinemas. I don't know, but I thought she fit really nicely. I kind of thought Orlando Bloom wasn't looking his best in the movie, but he did good. He did really, really good. And then obviously all the dwarves are back. You've got Bilbo Baggins back, looking as strapping as ever. There's Smaug himself. If you didn't realize, we're talking about the characters now. Who's played by Benedict Cumberbatch. And I don't really get the big freak out about this, because it was super impressive, yes. But I don't know why people are singling Benedict Cumberbatch out as such an amazing actor for his portrayal of Smaug. I guess, and this is what they said, I guess it's because of the way he actually played this dragon. I really mean played this dragon, because I was told that he did the motion capture and the voice of Smaug, which is pretty crazy. And it's funny, I only heard or read about this afterwards, but it's funny because I thought to myself, this dragon, it looks a little bit like Benedict Cumberbatch. How? I thought maybe, well, it's just the voice. You know, because it's his voice. I'm just seeing things. But no, they kind of did that. They kind of tried to get a bit of a resemblance there, and it was super impressive, okay? The whole Bilbo versus the dragon scene, it was clever, it was incredibly good looking, and it was exciting. It really was. But If I had to give you, say, my favorite character or something, I would say that I did actually enjoy the elf lady, Toriel. I think her name was Toriel. Helene has some obsession with a little buck antler elf king. That dude? Thranduil. Yes. He is 2 years younger than Orlando Bloom in real life, and he was playing his father in the movie. That was funny. I don't know why I find it so funny, but it must have been so weird for the actors up in there. Anyway, he was rather good. He looked kind of cool. Then there was also one really standout character in the form of Bjorn, the bear man. He was super fun. If you haven't noticed, really bad at this movie review thing. I don't review movies. I don't know how to talk about movies. I'm just talking about everything that comes to mind. Bjorn was cool. And we are going to see more of him. I think that was just like an introduction to the character. But I really enjoyed that entire scene with the big bear monster and the orcs being all scared of him. And on that note, I don't like any of the orcs. I just feel like those two orcs, the two war leaders, are more of an annoyance than anything. I suppose that's the idea, but they're more of an annoyance to watch, more so than anything. I don't know why. I don't know, maybe they did their job well. Maybe that right there is a job well done if we find them annoying. No one's meant to like the orcs. Then, not finally, but close to finally, there is Bard the Bowman. I think that's what they called him. He was also a new introduction, and he was great. He was a really good character. He immediately reminded me of Aragorn for some reason. I don't know why, but he had that goody two-shoes feel about him. And then at certain points, now this is because I had no memory of the Hobbit left in my mind, but at certain points you feel like he's about to completely betray them and stab them in the back, but he's doing it for the right reasons, regardless of everything else. He's a good guy. He cares about the people in his life, and I think they did a good job with that character. They did. Besides, the dude is just really good looking. He is. So all the scenes with him in, they were pretty fun. I would say it's sort of a toss-up for me. There are a couple of favorite characters, and he's definitely one of them. The bear dude was kind of cool. Elf lady was nice. She did much better in this than she did in Lost. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. Didn't enjoy her in Lost. She was an annoyance as Kate. But in this movie, she fit. She did. The little love triangle, it was just a bit of a snooze fest. I didn't really care for it very much. But the rest of it was fun. The fighting, the elves fighting, that was super cool. Really enjoyed that. Man, I'm bad at talking about movies. I don't even know what I'm saying. Some of the special effects were a little bit wonky at times. They really were. I don't know. The river scene, for instance. The water and stuff just looked a bit funny. But that scene itself was really cool. From start to finish, I was on the edge of my seat. It was fun. It was a stark contrast to how it was in the books. But I enjoyed it. I really did. And the whole set of locations, so all the places that they visited looked really, really cool. So all the set pieces and all that other stuff was done incredibly well. I would say the highlight for me on that front was definitely Lake Town. Lake Town had this amazing feel to it. I felt like especially when at the end, Smaug just flew out of the mountain there and they showed it from above where he was like kind of approaching. It just has this grim feel to it. It feels like that town comes straight out of a Thief game or something. And even when they were in the town, it all just looked and felt so real. And really, really, really grim and dark and gritty, and it worked. It worked. That was my favorite location in the movie. I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but I enjoyed all the scenes in that place just because of the place itself. Not because of what was happening, not because of the characters that were in there, no. The place itself. That was great. Also, I kind of like face palmed at these dwarves, like trying to open this hidden door, and then the sun is like literally just setting, and they're like, oh, okay, fine, let's get out of here, and they walk away immediately. I was like, what? They spent so much time preparing for this. They fought so many baddies trying to get to this mountain, and then they suddenly just turn on their heels and leave instantly. Just give up like that. I realized it was just for dramatic effect, and they kind of just appeared back there immediately 2 seconds later, but it was just silly. Okay? It was silly. The whole scene inside the mountain where they were running around trying to take down the dragon, a lot of that felt very far-fetched to me, and I was always just kind of like, what are you doing, Cumberbatch? Seriously now, dude. Like, what are you doing? You are Smaug. How can you not deal with these little dwarves and that silly little burglar? It was frustrating. Kind of frustrating watching him fumble around there, but still fun. And that would just be how I would once again describe the movie. It was a lot of fun. It was, or at least it felt like, a grand adventure, much more so than the first Hobbit. And again, I didn't have any sense, rhyme or reason to how I was going to talk about this, but I will just say that I thoroughly enjoyed the lot of it. I wasn't quite as excited about Stephen Fry being in there as many other people. I didn't even realize it was him until, I suppose, it was too late. I didn't, because that character was just so insignificant to me. Whatever. Now, a lot of what I mentioned and spoke about here would only really make sense to you if you'd seen it, if you'd watched the movie. I feel like I would have to watch it again to fully appreciate everything that happened in there. Because, you know, I can still remember the way things happened. It was sort of like, it started, Mirkwood spiders, elves escaping, barrels, boat, lake town, mountain, treasure room. You know, there was a flow to all of it, and I can remember the flow for the most part, but I don't really remember all of it well enough to be able to give a full proper review. I mean, look, I forgot to talk about Gandalf and Radagast and the whole Dol Guldur thing. Was that what it was called? I'm bad with the names, but they went there. Gandalf is totally a badass. Always fun to watch. Ian McKellen is just such a great actor, and him as Gandalf, it's amazing. He did so wonderfully as that role. And it was interesting to me how they portrayed the birth of the Eye of Sauron, and how, what, the necromancer was actually him, and they sort of showed it off nicely and all that. That was fun. It was really fun. And I like that they ended it on a cliffhanger, because I desperately want to see what's going to happen. The dragon was bathed in the gold, so his scales are probably a little toasty and soft. He's got that one scale missing, so is the dude going to hit the black arrow? Are they going to take him down? I can't remember. I'm not going to go and read the book. I'm not going to spoil myself. I'll have to wait for the next movie. And I hope you guys had as much fun as me watching it, because, wow, I did. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the snacks I ate in the cinema. I enjoyed sitting there for the first time in, like, as I said, 3-4 years maybe. I enjoyed the company I went with. The lot of it. Well worth watching. If you can do so with friends, do it. I think the next time we're going to see this will probably be on Sean, my friend's projector at his house. So we'll probably see it there. And it won't be as spectacular as a 3D movie, but it'll still be fun. It'll be much more comfortable. We can lie on a couch to watch it. We can have a nice mug of coffee. Maybe dip a rusk in there. I don't know. But I'm going to watch it again at some point. I would love to just drive straight back to the cinema, watch it again, and then again after that. But that would cost too much and would take too much time. That is, however, how good it was. So I would suggest seeing it. If you haven't yet, go. Go now. Stop this video, jump in the car, and watch it. Doesn't even matter what time it is. If it's 3 a.m., find a cinema that's open and go see it. And also, let me know what you thought about the movie. Favorite characters, favorite scenes. I mean, I would say if I had to put myself on the spot at the end here, I'd say the character of Bard was probably my favorite. Probably. I'm not a big fan of the dwarves and stuff like that. Gandalf's great and the elves are cool and all that, but he was just interesting to watch. Lake Town was brilliant. So great. And favorite scene, I gotta say I liked seeing Bilbo versus the dragon. It was kind of cool. It's kind of cool how he tried to fool him with all the little riddles and stuff, because the dragon, being as arrogant as he was, he nearly fell for it a couple of times. And there you go. Those are my favorites. Let me know what you thought about it. Tell me everything, because I'm keen to see if I'm alone in my thoughts or not. Go ahead. That is sadly going to be it for this episode. I spoke a little bit long about it. I apologize for that. I usually try to keep these a bit shorter, but there you go. That is what I think about The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. Happy that.